Hey there, fellow thrill seekers and lovers of the unknown. Welcome back to our spine-chilling channel where we delve into the darkest corners of reality. Today, we're diving headfirst into a world of terror, where ordinary people find themselves facing the unthinkable. From creepy encounters on desolate highways to unexplained phenomena in the most mundane places, we're here to bring you real-life horror stories that could happen to anyone. So, grab your blankets, turn off the lights, and prepare to be captivated by the eerie tales that will send shivers down your spine. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss a single bone-chilling episode. Let's begin our journey into the realm of everyday nightmares. The terrifying encounter at the desolate rest stop. As I drove down the desolate highway, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the empty road. My GPS had guided me to this remote stretch of highway, and I was desperately in need of a break. I saw a sign indicating a rest stop a few miles ahead and the prospect of stretching my legs, and grabbing a snack was too tempting to resist. As I pulled into the rest stop, I couldn't help but notice how eerily empty it was. There were no other cars in sight, and the parking lot was deserted. The sun had almost disappeared behind the horizon, and the fading light made everything seem even more desolated. I parked my car and got out, feeling a sense of unease wash over me. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant hum of the highway. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should just get back in my car and continue driving. But exhaustion had begun to set in, and I decided to push my fears aside. I walked towards the small building that housed the restrooms and vending machines. As I approached, I saw another car parked near the entrance. Relief washed over me at the sight of another person, thinking that I wouldn't be alone in this desolate place. Inside, I found a woman, maybe in her early 40s, huddled over a vending machine. She seemed lost in thought, her fingers fumbling for change. I offered her a friendly smile and said, "Hey there, it's so quiet out here, isn't it?" She looked up at me with a start as if she hadn't noticed my arrival. Her eyes were wide with fear, and her hands trembled as she took a step back. You shouldn't be here," she stammered. I was taken aback by her reaction, not sure if I had done something to upset her. "I'm sorry if I startled you," I said, trying to reassure her. "I was just passing through and needed a break. Are you okay?" She continued to stare at me, her fear palpable. "You need to leave," she whispered urgently. "This place, it's not safe. You need to get out of here." I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine at her words. Something about her demeanor and the desolation of the rest stop was starting to get to me. But I still tried to rationalize it, thinking she might be having a bad day or suffering from some kind of anxiety. "Hey, I don't mean to intrude, but is everything okay?" I asked, my concern growing. She suddenly turned and rushed towards the restroom, leaving her belongings behind. I hesitated for a moment, torn between my own unease and a desire to make sure she was all right. I decided to follow her into the restroom, calling out to her as I entered. The restroom was empty and the silence was suffocating. I looked around, my heart pounding in my chest. "Are you in here?" I called out. There was no response, but something caught my eye in the mirror. I turned to see the woman standing behind me, her eyes wide with terror, but this time her expression was twisted into a sinister grin. "You shouldn't have come here," she hissed. My blood ran cold as I realized that something was seriously wrong. I bolted out of the restroom and back towards the vending area, but the woman was nowhere to be seen. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, my voice shaking as I tried to explain the situation to the operator. As I waited for the police to arrive, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The rest stop, once so desolate, seemed to come alive with a malevolent presence. When the police finally arrived, they searched the area thoroughly, but found no trace of the mysterious woman. To this day, I can't explain what happened at that rest stop. The fear in the woman's eyes, her sudden disappearance, and the overwhelming sense of dread that had consumed me still haunt my nightmares. I can only hope that I'll never have to experience anything like it again, and I warn anyone who's thinking of taking a break on a deserted highway to think twice, because sometimes the scariest things are the ones you never see coming. The long road home. It was one of those chilly autumn nights that had the streets bathed in the soft glow of streetlights, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness. I had just finished a grueling shift at work and was eager to get home, but I couldn't shake the eerie feeling that something was off. As I walked along the deserted street, my footsteps echoing in the quiet, I couldn't help but glance nervously over my shoulder every so often. The unease began to gnaw at me, and my heart quickened its pace as I sensed a presence behind me. I tried to dismiss it as my imagination, but when I turned my head, I saw him. A tall, sinister-looking man shrouded in darkness, his face obscured by the hood of his tattered coat. He was walking with a determined stride, following me with unwavering focus. My mind raced, my senses on high alert as I tried to rationalize the situation. Maybe he's just walking the same way, I thought, desperately seeking a plausible explanation. I quickened my pace, hoping that putting some distance between us would ease my escalating fear. But with every step I took, he matched it effortlessly, his presence looming closer, like a sinister shadow that refused to fade. Panic began to set in, and I frantically searched for a way out of this nightmarish situation. The street was deserted, and my phone, my lifeline to the outside world, lay forgotten in my purse. As I turned a corner into a narrower alley, I hoped to lose him amidst the labyrinthine twists and turns, but the man was relentless, still tailing me with eerie precision. Desperation took hold, and I decided to seek refuge in the nearby convenience store. I dashed inside, my breath coming in ragged gasps, and I pleaded with the store clerk to call the police. He could see the terror in my eyes and quickly dialed 911 as I waited inside the store, peering through the glass windows. I watched as the man paced menacingly outside, his eyes locked onto the store entrance. It was clear he had sinister intentions, and my heart pounded in my chest as I prayed for the police to arrive in time. Minutes felt like hours as I huddled in the store, my eyes never leaving the man who continued to lurk outside. Finally, the reassuring wail of sirens approached, and a pair of police officers rushed in, their authoritative presence a welcome sight. I relayed the chilling ordeal I had just experienced, and they immediately sprang into action. With a sense of dread, I watched as they confronted the man outside. His demeanor shifted from brazen defiance to submission as they interrogated him. They discovered he had a long history of stalking and harassment, and it was only a matter of time before he would have escalated his terrifying pursuit. As the handcuffs clicked into place, I felt an overwhelming mix of relief and fear. I had narrowly escaped a harrowing encounter with a dangerous individual who had been lurking in the shadows of that empty street. It was a nightmarish experience that would forever haunt me, a stark reminder that danger could lurk around any corner, even in the most seemingly ordinary of places. I often find myself reliving that night in my mind, my heart racing just as it did back then. It serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can exist in the world, and the importance of trusting one's instincts and seeking help when faced with the unknown. It was a night I will never forget. A night when I came face to face with a stranger whose intentions were nothing short of terrifying. The unseen stalker. I had always cherished the solitude of my cozy little home, nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood. With only my loyal dog, Max, for company, my evenings were usually peaceful and uneventful. Little did I know that one fateful night would shatter my sense of security and plunge me into a terrifying ordeal that I would never forget. It was a typical evening. I had just settled down on the couch with a good book, the soft glow of lamplight casting a warm and inviting atmosphere. Max lay by my side, his gentle snoring providing a comforting backdrop to the quiet of the night. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary until I heard it, a faint, eerie rustling sound coming from outside. I paused, my heart skipping a beat, and strained my ears to catch any further noise. The rustling grew louder, and I realized it was coming from the bushes just beyond my living room window. Anxiety gripped me as I tried to rationalize the source of the disturbance. Maybe it's just a raccoon or a stray cat, I thought, attempting to dismiss my growing unease. But as the seconds ticked by, the rustling intensified, now accompanied by a soft, eerie whispering that sent a shiver down my spine. I glanced at Max, who had risen to his feet, his ears perked and his eyes locked onto the window. His low growl rumbled through the room, his protective instincts kicking in. With trembling hands, I approached the window, the curtains billowing slightly from the gentle night breeze. My heart pounded in my chest as I carefully pulled aside the curtain, revealing the dimly lit outside world. What I saw made my blood run cold. In the darkness beyond, a figure lurked, a shadowy silhouette that seemed to blend with the night itself. It stood just beyond the window, barely visible, its presence palpable in the air. I couldn't make out any features, just a menacing, indistinct shape. Fear gripped me like a vice, and I stumbled backward, drawing the curtains closed in a panic. Max continued to growl, his hackles raised, his instincts telling him that something was terribly wrong. I fumbled for my phone, fingers trembling, and dialed 911. The dispatcher assured me that help was on the way, but the minutes felt like an eternity as I huddled with Max, our eyes fixed on that window, waiting for the unknown intruder to reveal their intentions. Outside, the rustling and whispering continued, growing more unsettling with each passing moment. It felt like a sinister symphony, a chorus of dread that seemed to mock my helplessness. I couldn't escape the feeling that I was being watched, studied by an unseen stalker with sinister motives. Finally, the distant wail of sirens pierced the night, signaling the arrival of the police. I breathed a sigh of relief, but the terror still clung to me like a second skin. The officers quickly swept the area, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. But they found nothing. No trace of the mysterious intruder, no evidence of their presence, just the lingering sense of unease that hung in the air. The police assured me that they would increase patrols in the area and advised me to stay vigilant. With Max by my side, I locked all the doors and windows, double-checked the security system, and retreated to my bedroom where I spent a sleepless night, every creak and rustle outside causing my heart to race. In the days that followed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of an unseen presence lingering just beyond my vision. The incident had left an indelible mark on my psyche, a constant reminder that even in the safety of my own home, danger could lurk just outside the window. As time passed, the memory of that chilling night gradually faded, but the fear and unease it had instilled in me remained. I became hyper-aware of my surroundings, always on edge, and Max, too, seemed forever changed, his protective instincts heightened. The unseen stalker had left no physical trace, no tangible evidence, but the psychological scars it had inflicted would never fully heal. It was a reminder that the line between safety and vulnerability could be thinner than we ever imagined, and that the darkness outside our windows could hide far more than we dared to imagine. Thanks for watching. To support us, please like and subscribe.